The first time I met Ethan's father, he looked at me as though I were gum stuck under his shoe. I had barely stepped into their sprawling dining room, crystal chandelier humming overhead, mahogany table polished to a shine, when he muttered the words that still echo in my ears. Street garbage. He didn't even wait until I was out of earshot. His voice was loud enough, clear enough, deliberate enough to slice me open in front of everyone. My cheeks burned, my chest tightened, and I wanted to disappear into the floor. Ethan's mother gasped, Ethan froze with a fork halfway to his mouth, and I sat down at the table with trembling hands, pretending I hadn't heard. But I had. And those words, those two poisonous words, would change everything. The background, why it hurt. I'm not ashamed of where I come from. My childhood was messy, sure, but it made me who I am. My mother worked 3 jobs, my father left when I was 10, and I grew up in a neighborhood most people lock their car doors while driving through. I put myself through college with scholarships and part-time jobs, and I worked my way into a career in marketing at a firm that had nothing to do with family connections or privilege. Ethan knew all of this. He loved me for it, or at least, he said he did. He used to tell me, "You're the strongest person I've ever met. You've built yourself from nothing." So why, as I sat across from his father in that suffocatingly perfect dining room, did I feel like I was 12 years old again, wearing thrift store jeans and trying not to be noticed? The main conflict, dinner that changed everything. The dinner was supposed to be important. Ethan had been talking about it for weeks. His father, Robert Sterling, the type of man who makes headlines in business magazines, rarely approved of anyone, and Ethan wanted him to see that I was worthy. Worthy. I hated that word, but I agreed. For Ethan. The evening spiraled quickly. After the street garbage comment, Robert spent most of the meal asking me questions designed to humiliate. So, he said, swirling his glass of Bordeaux, your parents don't own any property? No inheritance, no assets. I forced a smile. No. I built my career on my own. He smirked. Ah. The charity case. Ethan always did like projects. I gripped my napkin so hard my knuckles turned white. Ethan tried to intervene. Dad, that's enough. But Robert raised his hand. I'm just making conversation. Surely, if she's strong enough to sit at this table, she's strong enough to take a little honesty. His mother looked like she wanted to crawl under the table. But she said nothing. By the time dessert was served, I was shaking. The tiramisu blurred in front of me. My body screamed to run, but my pride forced me to stay seated, to endure. And then came the final blow. Robert leaned back, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "Girls like you are fine for fun. But marriage? Legacy? No. You're street garbage. Nothing more." The silence that followed was deafening. Ethan dropped his fork with a clang. His mother gasped. My heart broke in a way I didn't think was possible. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, and stared at my reflection. My mascara had smudged, my lip trembled, but my eyes were sharp. Something snapped inside me. The twist, the cancelled deal. The next morning, I woke up with swollen eyes and a decision to make. I could stay quiet, swallow the humiliation, and hope that Robert would eventually warm up to me. Or, I could fight back. What Robert didn't know was that his company, Sterling Enterprises, had just signed on with my firm for a massive marketing campaign. A contract worth millions. I wasn't in charge of the account, but I had influence, enough to talk to the right people. Enough to cancel it. The thought pulsed through me like electricity. He thought I was garbage. He thought I was disposable. So I picked up the phone. By noon, Sterling Enterprises' contract was terminated. The official reason was conflict of interest, but really, it was me. I had cancelled his deal. Fallout, Ethan's anger. When Ethan found out, he stormed into my apartment. "Do you realize what you've done?" he shouted, his usually calm face twisted with rage. "That deal was crucial. You've ruined months of work." I stood my ground. "Do you realize what your father called me? Do you realize you sat there and let him?" Ethan froze. "I didn't let him. I told him to stop." "You whispered," I snapped. "You defended me like I was an inconvenience, not the woman you claimed to love." He rubbed his temples. "You're being dramatic. My father's old-fashioned. He says cruel things, but he doesn't mean them." "Doesn't mean them?" My voice cracked. He looked me in the eye and called me garbage, Ethan. Garbage. If that's your definition of harmless, then maybe you don't know me at all. The silence that followed was heavier than any insult Robert had thrown at me. Internal conflict, love versus self-respect. For days, I wrestled with myself. I loved Ethan. He was kind, funny, gentle, at least outside of his father's shadow. But love without respect is like trying to breathe without air. I asked myself hard questions. Could I marry into a family where I was despised? Could I build a life with a man who, when push came to shove, couldn't protect me? The answer twisted in my gut, but it was clear. The unexpected twist, Robert's visit. A week later, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, Robert Sterling himself stood there. For a moment, I thought he had come to unleash more venom. But his expression surprised me, less arrogance, more calculation. "I heard you canceled my deal," he said flatly. I folded my arms. "I did." He smirked. "Good. About time someone had the guts to stand up to me." I blinked. "What?" Robert stepped inside, uninvited, and lowered his voice. "You think I don't test people? You think I didn't call you garbage to see what you do?" Ethan's had girlfriends who wilted at the first sign of disapproval. "But you cost me millions just to prove a point. That takes power." I stared at him, stunned. "So it was a test?" "Everything's a test," he said. "And you passed." For a moment, I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. Climax, the choice. That night, I told Ethan what his father had said. He was furious, not at his father, but at me. "You're buying into his games," Ethan said. "Don't you see? He's manipulating you. He'll never truly accept you." I looked at him, at the man I thought I'd marry, and I realized something profound. It wasn't Robert's approval I needed. It was Ethan's courage. And he didn't have it. I packed my things the next morning. Conclusion, reflection. It's been 3 months since that dinner, since the word garbage was spat at me like a curse. I walked away from Ethan, from Robert, from all of it. But I also walked toward something else, myself. My career is thriving, my friends remind me daily of my worth, and for the first time in years, I feel free. Sometimes I wonder if Robert truly respected me, or if it was just another one of his twisted power plays. But in the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I refuse to let a man define me. I wasn't garbage. I never was. And maybe, just maybe, canceling his deal wasn't revenge. Maybe it was my way of proving, to him, to Ethan, and to myself, that I am not disposable. I am unstoppable.